Okay, what's going on?
I don't even know.
You don't know what's going on?
Is he breathing? Oh my God. Mark.
May 7th, 2017. A seemingly ordinary afternoon in the quiet town of Beloit, Ohio. But beneath the surface of this peaceful day, a dark secret was about to be unearthed. David Kinney, his wife Sherry, and their young daughter were on a simple errand, returning a weed trimmer to their close friend, Brad McGary. But as they approached Brad's home, an unsettling feeling washed over them. The front door remained unanswered, and a growing sense of dread began to creep in. Little did they know, the scene that awaited them inside would shatter their lives forever. What David discovered in the basement that day was a horror no one could have predicted. Before the chilling discovery at Brad's house, David Kinney appeared to be living a fulfilling life. At 21, a birthday party would mark a pivotal moment. It was there he met Sherry, a striking single mother. For David, it was love at first sight. He was determined to build a life with Sherry and her 3 children, a decision that raised eyebrows in his circle, but one he embraced with unwavering commitment. To provide for his growing family, David took on the demanding and dangerous job of a coal miner. It was in the challenging environment of coal mining training that David's path crossed with Brad McGary. Born in the 1970s, Brad had navigated the difficulties of being openly gay in a conservative community. Despite facing prejudice, he remained true to himself, building a strong network of friends and initially pursuing a career in hairstyling. Later, in a surprising career shift, Brad also became a coal miner. Despite their different backgrounds, David and Brad forged a deep friendship. Brad became so close to the Kinney family that David's children affectionately called him Uncle Brad. They were inseparable, their bond seemingly Fast forward to 2017. David, now 30, was seemingly content in his marriage to Sherry, their children growing up around them. Brad, however, was navigating his own life, balancing work, family time, and a secret romance. On that fateful day, May 7th, after a family gathering, Brad told a cousin he needed to return home for a meeting. Later that evening, around 6:15 p.m., David, Sherry, and their youngest daughter arrived at Brad's house to return the weed trimmer. But something was immediately off. Brad's car was there, yet the house remained silent. No answer at the door. A knot of worry tightened in their stomachs. They made their way around to the back of the house, where they found the service door ajar. Calling out for Brad, their voices echoed in the unnerving silence. David ventured inside, Sherry searching the upper floor. It was in the darkness of the basement that David's search came to an abrupt and horrifying end. There, bathed in an ever-growing pool of blood, lay Brad's lifeless body. A scream ripped from David's throat, bringing Sherry rushing downstairs to confront the same gruesome reality. Sherry's frantic 911 call alerted the authorities to a scene that would soon unravel a shocking truth. Brad McGary was dead, the victim of a fatal gunshot. When the police arrived, they were met with a scene of distress. David and Sherry, visibly shaken, recounted their arrival at the house and the horrific discovery they made. They spoke of their deep connection with Brad, emphasizing the years of friendship and how he was like family, a beloved Uncle Brad to their children. They even had a vacation planned together. But as investigators began to piece together Brad's life, one detail emerged: a recently ended, tumultuous relationship with a man named Scotty. Could this be a motive? Was Scotty capable of such? Back at the scene, the forensic team began their grim work. The house was in disarray, a peculiar mess with open drawers and a ransacked living room. It looked like a robbery gone wrong, but something fell off. Valuable items remained untouched. Brad was a collector of rural art, yet his prized possessions were still there. Even money lay scattered on the floor. This wasn't a typical robbery. The scene felt staged. Given Brad's open homosexuality and his profession in a traditionally conservative environment, detectives considered the possibility of a hate crime. But interviews with his colleagues at the mine revealed a surprising truth. Brad was well-respected and admired. That theory quickly dissolved. Investigators then focused on Brad's personal life, interviewing friends and family. David and Sherry reiterated the information about Scotty, and Brad's friend, Wendy, confirmed the toxic nature of that relationship. She even admitted she was against it. This lead took detectives straight to Scotty's door. But there, they received an unexpected alibi. Scotty's mother informed them he had been in jail for 3 months for a probation violation. While Scotty wasn't physically present at the time of the murder, detectives couldn't rule him out entirely. Could he have orchestrated the crime from behind bars? When police visited Scotty in jail to inform him of Brad's death, his reaction seemed genuine. By the end of the interview, his involvement appeared unlikely. The investigation was hitting a dead end. Desperate for answers, detectives canvassed the neighborhood, hoping for any clues. Fortunately, a neighbor had a security camera facing the street, close to Brad's home. Hours of footage were meticulously reviewed. Meanwhile, the interviews with friends and family continued. Then, 2 days later, a seemingly insignificant conversation shifted the entire. Brad's cousin revealed that on the day of the murder, Brad had left a family lunch between 1:30 and 2 p.m., mentioning that a man named DJ was supposed to visit. He even joked about taking a nap with his guest, hinting at a romantic connection. The cousin further disclosed that Brad had confided in her about a long-term relationship with a married man who hadn't come out to his wife. And the name of this secret lover? DJ. Under the pressure of the lead investigator, the cousin finally dropped a bombshell. The officer was stunned to hear that DJ was actually David Kinney, the very man who had discovered Brad's lifeless body. When asked if she was certain, the cousin confirmed that David was the only man Brad had ever mentioned in that way. Everything suddenly clicked into place. David, the grieving friend, was now the prime suspect. Under the guise of needing to retrieve photos related to the crime scene, detectives convinced David to hand over his phone. But their real intention was to track his location and search for evidence of a relationship beyond friendship. The phone's location data revealed the shocking truth. David's phone had been at Brad's house at the estimated time of the fatal shooting. And although David had deleted incriminating messages, a deeper forensic analysis uncovered text messages between him and Brad that confirmed their sexual relationship. Meanwhile, the neighbor's surveillance footage corroborated the timeline. David had indeed driven to Brad's house just before the estimated time of the attack, notably in his wife's car. The footage also captured his departure about 40 minutes later and his return hours later with his family, under the guise of delivering a weed. The evidence was mounting. David had been at Brad's house both before and during the time of his death. It was time for the confrontation. When presented with the damning data from his phone, David admitted to being at the house, but his story began to unravel. Over a lengthy interrogation, he offered 7 or 8 different versions of events. At one point, David claimed a third, unidentified man had been in the house, a man who shot Brad after a heated argument and then threatened David into silence. But detectives didn't believe him. Pressed for the truth, David finally confessed to the affair, though he insisted it had only been going on for a few months, not years. He claimed Brad had become angry when David tried to end their relationship that afternoon. David alleged that Brad had brandished a gun, waving it in his face, leading to a physical struggle. He claimed he wrestled the gun away and shot Brad in self-defense, even admitting to firing a second shot while Brad was on the ground. But the forensic evidence told a different story. The autopsy revealed Brad had been shot twice, both times in the back of the head. Self-defense was impossible. When asked about the weapon, David claimed he had disposed of it while fleeing. Despite extensive searches, the murder weapon was never recovered. Before taking David to jail, police allowed him to speak with Sherry. The detectives listened intently as David confessed to the affair and expressed regret. Sherry's reaction was one of shock and disbelief. She asked him if he was mocking her, stating she couldn't even bear to look at him. This confirmed Sherry's complete unawareness of the secret life her husband had. On May 9th, David was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Investigators believed Brad, frustrated with the secrecy, had likely threatened to reveal the truth to Sherry, giving David the motive to kill his friend and maintain his double life. The preliminary hearing was a marathon affair, filled with inconsistencies in David's story. Police recounted his initial distraught demeanor at the scene, his physical discomfort, and his initial statement claiming he was just delivering a weed trimmer. They then presented his final confession of self-defense, a confession contradicted by the autopsy results. David's defense argued for manslaughter and self-defense, but the judge found probable cause to send the case to the county court, setting bail at a staggering $1 million. Attempts to reduce the bail were denied, even with pleas from David's family who testified to his good character. Sherry, under oath, stated she noticed nothing unusual that day, recalling the stage scene at Brad's house. But the judge was unmoved, noting David's blatant lies to his wife and daughter. David's trial lasted a week. The prosecution presented the surveillance footage, police body cam footage exposing David's lies, and the damning phone records. A forensic expert revealed DNA evidence from a used condom found at the scene. Brad's DNA was on the outside, and the DNA of an unknown male on the inside, but no trace of David's DNA. This revelation added another layer of complexity to the case. The defense maintained David acted in fear and self-defense, admitting to some odd behavior, but denying he was a criminal. The prosecution countered with the undeniable fact: 2 shots to the back of the head are not acts of self-defense. They argued Brad was likely on his knees when the fatal shots. After 4 hours of deliberation, the jury returned their verdict: guilty of the aggravated murder of Brad McGary. Gasps and tears filled the courtroom. Given the opportunity to speak before sentencing, David apologized to Brad's family, claiming he never intended for any of this to happen. But the judge was unmoved, recounting David's numerous lies and labeling the crime a cold and calculated execution. The judge had limited sentencing options, all involving life imprisonment. David's defense urged for the possibility of parole, highlighting his lack of prior criminal record. But the prosecutor argued for life without parole, emphasizing the irreversible loss for Brad's family. The judge ultimately agreed, stating that David's capacity to end the life of someone who loved him was too concerning to ever allow his return to public life. In February 2018, David Kinney was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 3 years for firearm specification. The police remarked that this entire tragedy could have been avoided if David had been honest about his sexuality. As of mid-2023, prison records indicate David remains incarcerated in Ohio. His appeals for parole have been denied. While David's life took a devastating turn, Brad's life was tragically cut short. Their intertwined story serves as a chilling reminder of the destructive power of secrets and lies. What are your thoughts on this case? Were you surprised by the motive? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the investigation, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more gripping stories of unsolved crimes.